Okay. Collins.
Here.
White. Here. Schrader.
Here.
Hinderman. Here. Pohl.
Here.
Bowden.
Here.
Andrews.
Here.
All present.
Proof of giving public meeting notice. Notices are posted at both schools, sent to the Village of Dickeyville and Cuba City Hall, as well as members of the media on Tuesday, April 19th. Item 3 is consideration of the consent agenda. Are there any items A through D that the board would like further discussion on? Hearing none, would someone move?
I'll move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Collins.
Yes.
White. Yes. Schrader.
Yes.
Hinderman. Yes. Pohl.
Yes.
Bowden.
Yes.
Andrews.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Administrative reports. We're going to start with the curriculum report, the 612 science.
Yep, and curriculum chair, Ms. Tiedemann, is here, and we'll hand it over to you.
Hi. Thanks for having me here tonight. You've had various reports from different groups of curriculum PLCs, and I'll be covering the Science 612. And just have some information to update kind of what we did this year, some of our goals and things. So first I have our staff, which I'm sure you're familiar with, but it's just kind of neat to see everybody up there. Pretty excited to be on the page with these awesome teachers. But here with what I teach, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, with the earth science in 6th grade, the physical science in 7th, and the life science in 8th, just to kind of expose them at different times. Stacy Ballback with chemistry, physics, AP chemistry and AP physics. Rod Robson with biology, anatomy and physiology, and AP bio. And Carolyn Timmerman, primarily 9th grade for physical science and then environmental science, and she also teaches Spanish 1. So I have a mission statement that we put together this year. Has a lot of strong words in there, and sometimes I think we need to have that as a high point where our mission is, because I know there's days that I forget about college and career and civic readiness, and I just do my thing. But it's really refreshing to read those kinds of things and realize our role, how serious it is at times, but yet to not to be intimidated by it. So I'll read that with you. We are facilitators of engagement for Cuba City School District to transfer college, career, and civic readiness skills through our content to all students. The Cuba City Middle School and High School Science Department educators are committed to developing scientifically literate problem solvers by fostering a spirit of inquiry and bringing relevant and real-world science into the classroom experience. And what's neat about that is pieces of that, I'm like, I got this. And I'm excited about. Other pieces is a little more intimidating. But again, as a mission statement, it is really solid. And I think I'm proud of that. We put that together this year. This breaks it down a little bit, I guess, for me, clarification. And you know how it is, anything that you create, you seem to understand it a little bit more on your own. But I hope this makes some sense too. Our vision and our purpose is kind of numbered out there and summarized at the bottom. And then trying to keep that at the forefront as much as you can as you teach. Identify and take ownership of our science goals. And then the responsibility, take on tasks to vet the next generation science standards is what our district is incorporating. And we're learning and growing a lot about those standards. But we have a real strong support system with all the science educators following that. Using data to drive our results is a really healthy focus. And efficiency is huge to implement the standards as curriculum. So I have that we kind of worded that together as a summative piece too, with identifying and naming ownership for the Cuba City School District science goals, to vet the instructional practices into those standards, and use data to drive those results and maintain efficiency in our rooms. We have an action plan as well. Action 1 for the science department was actually for all of the different departments, were to try to get power standards established so we can really find out what standards we hit in each grade. And we did that for the science from kindergarten up through 12th grade, and then try to match out to see what standards possibly are being missed or taught too much. So that would have been the first action over here. We really focused on that last quarter, have a pretty good handle on it. So each person's name is sort of in their own spot here. Carolyn rather is working on her environmental science curriculum to redevelop that. So we have that as a goal or action plan. And then the middle here, I've been working on implementing summative assessments to connect those to our power standards. Rod has been developing summative assessments for the A&P course. And then Stacy, she's hitting the standards-based grading and summative assessments too. She really leads us in a lot of things, so appreciate that. She's here tonight too. Action 4 would be more for next year, to try to bring our common summative assessments to get some commonality in our what we expect summative assessments to look like. This other slide here is sort of pedagogical resource, so like how we teach. A few years back, I was able to go to a Paul Anderson at CISA workshop. I know Stacy's been to some, and we're kind of following the wonder of science as a really strong resource. And I can just show you really quick just kind of how, I don't know, awesome it is and what the availability is for teachers to be able to use the resource. So it's laid out like that. And then what's really magical about it, so much of the work is done. And then you just got to dig around in there. So you can find, like this is me and everybody else is, there too. And then the world is so linked and so great. You just click and it guides to what you can do and assessment options and videos. And so just something I think is really awesome to be able to have available to our school. Then I thought I would just show you a little bit about how we try to focus on a phenomena to start a lesson. So this is just something for you to look at real quick. What we would do is you just have it on a loop and you play it and kids watch it. A lot of times I'll even turn the sound off and we do a wonder, and kids get to just watch this and develop questions and just really start to think about what's making this work. And the phenomena are linked to the standard, which is linked to what you're covering. So it's kind of done for you. You just have to find some of these and then let the kids make connections and let them wonder. It's real free and real open, and it narrows down after they do some wondering. It's just really fun to watch. I could just watch it all the time. But that's neither here nor there. Then the process after that, which is also laid out with Paul Anderson's help, we have the 5 steps we try to follow, where you wonder about something and you have that phenomena that grabs them best you can. And then they start to wonder, ask questions. They're really unsure, but it's the best part. And then they start to think. They get a little scared of that because you put them a little bit on the spot, but they have to think about what could be happening and what science could be involved in what they're doing. And then they have to test it out. So you get your labs in there and you get some of the active stuff that they get to do. And then you have to show what you know. So some type of assessment or some type of project that goes with it. I guess I'm just showing you that because it's really helpful for us to have that framework. And, one of my goals would be to get everybody to really like what Paul Anderson does as much as I do. But, everybody follows their own kind of resources and things like that. So that is our guiding practice to get the next generation science standards incorporated in a systematic way with some similarities all the way from kindergarten through 12. And then I just have some pictures of kids, which is really cool. It's the best things about I'm not sure exactly what you guys are doing, something fun there. Made your own boba or something.
We did.
Yeah.
And then the other one you can see, the physics class, they designed they found the terminal velocity of a coffee filter.
Nice.
So, but that design that they have is the first type of design that I've ever seen like that. So the kids are really creative. So that's what makes that picture special, is because that design, the precision was excellent, the accuracy was excellent,
Nice.
and their design was completely new. So it's not like they Googled it and they built what was on the computer screen. They designed that, and it worked great. So they were pretty fired up.
Awesome. That now explains their expressions here, so they look like they're proud and happy at the same time. Here we've got some chemistry, some of Carolyn's classes she sent. They're wearing their masks pretty much correctly. And then these are some of my students. Some sixth grade, so seventh grade, eighth grade, a little bit of the design structures and things too. And then a little bit of digital presentation, because we do that, and then some model making and stuff too that we do. And that's all I have for you guys. So I don't know if you have any questions you want to ask or anything, or Stacy has any more to add, or.
Well, you can see the shift. No longer textbooks, no longer lecturing. There's a major shift in pedagogy. And with that comes a lot of training and discussions and trial and error. So
Thank you, Ms.
Thank
Tiedemann.
Thanks.
Thank you. Deb, special ed?
I have a couple of things. Next Wednesday, April 27th, is Administrative Assistants Day, and I want to thank all of our administrative assistants. They are extremely dedicated and certainly keep our buildings running smoothly. They are our right arms. Also next week, Mr. Van Epps from CISA 3 will come and observe and meet with the teachers who are co-teaching this year. This is the fourth time that he'll actually be on site visiting, and he's also available, to them throughout the year as well, but this will be his last visit. And then a final reminder that open enrollment application period ends on April 29th, and there's a link on the district website.
Thank you, Deb. Any questions covered? Dr. Kelly, middle and high school report.
So, as always, we have a lot going on at the middle school and high school, but a few things. We had 2 entries from the middle school history advanced to the state competition for National History Day. One was about the Cuban Missile Crisis, and the other on America joining World War II. So big shout out to Mrs. Burkett, Mrs. Rollins, and our students who did a great job with this. All forensics entries advanced to state competition on April 9th, and we had 11 golds, 3 silvers, and 1 bronze. So congratulations to the forensics team. We had 2 FCCLA members score so well at the state competition that they are now on their way to California after board approval to represent Cuba City and Wisconsin at the national level. So congratulations to Lexi Clancy and Cassidy Goodridge, and of course, Mrs. Merwin. We're pretty excited about that. And then finally, I'll mention that our middle school students are all taking the forward exams this week, which is a huge undertaking. I'd like to thank Mrs. Shep and Mr. Sander for all of their work getting this ready, and of course, all our staff for their flexibility. And then the sophomores are taking their social studies version of that, or they did take it today. So once all of that testing is complete and makeup exams are done, we'll be done with testing this year. Thank you.
No questions? All right, Heather, business manager report.
Update on the 21-22 budget. At the end of March, we were 75% through the fiscal year, and we had spent about 54% of our Fund 10 budget, which is in line with our spending last year. DPI, last month, I let you guys know that I submitted the district's ESSER 3 application and narrative. DPI has now approved that, and I also have submitted our budget, and that has also been approved. I'm continuing to work on the 22-23 budget. Jennifer Shep and Raya Adler, they've secured a Get Kids Ahead initiative grant, which will result in the district receiving some money, right around $18,000 to spend on mental health. And we have to have that spent by 2024. I worked with Deb to submit the district's special ed high cost claim. And then mid-March, the district received news that there would be a third round of the Emergency Connectivity Fund. The district has received funds in round 1 and 2, which help pay for our one-to-one devices. And we don't have our application submitted yet, but I've asked TC Networks to work on a list of items so that we can get our, that are needed so that we can get our application submitted. And that's all I have.
That grant is,
That actually came from the governor, right? The governor released some dollars.
For
mental health
the
for schools,
emergency
so if you see-
connectivity grant.
Well, I'm sorry, I was talking about the mental health. grant.
Oh,
Is that what you're talking about? Or are you
the
talking about
connectivity.
Connectivity.
That was for federal dollars.
Yep, those are federal dollars. And so round 1, we used to pay for devices this year, basically. And then round 2, we secured enough funds to pay for those devices for next year. So that's helpful. When
We
we're,
already have next year's Chromebooks
In-
in the building.
yes, but that will help alleviate some pain off of next year's budget.
Any other questions?
Heather, just quickly clarifying for my notes, you said DPI has approved ESER 3 and the budget, the application, the
application.
narrative, and the budget. Correct. Thank you.
Any other questions? Alrighty, Aaron, the superintendent of elementary. report?
Yep, at the Cuba City Elementary, we had our annual 3-year-old play date. We invite people in with 3-year-olds and kind of observe and monitor behavior, check for milestones for students. And we had a handful of students come in on that day. April 6th was Paraprofessional Appreciation Day. We certainly appreciate all of our paraeducators. The forward exam at the elementary school for 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders was held on April 4th and will be done, it was done on April 13th. That testing window is open through April 9th or April 29th, but we do test everybody 3rd through 8th grade and 10th grade. Our 5th graders took a trip to the Dubuque Symphony Orchestra on April 7th. We also have a reading challenge that's going on right now, and each student and staff member that meets their reading goals will get a piece of duct tape. And the attempt is to try to get Mr. Kraus stuck to a wall with said duct tape. So in May, we'll let you know how that goes and I'll let you know if he's stuck up there or not. April 4th through the 8th was Severe Weather Awareness Week, and the elementary school spent some time focusing on what to do for some of those areas or those emergency weather events. On April 13th, officers with the Cuba City Police Department came to Cuba City to do the annual fingerprint program for 5K students, and 5K students think that putting their hand in ink and pressing paper is really cool. On April 13th, the Title I team hosted a family engagement night, and it was very well attended. So a big thanks goes out to Amanda Gall, Amy Spielvogel, and Carly Redfern for getting that ready to go. Congratulations to Mason Kirk for advancing to the state level for Knights of Columbus math contest. And then we had a lot of students go to the beginner honor band on April 9th in Boscoville, and those students were Isaac Miller, Evan Flesh, Allie Majerus, Kennedy Pickle, Quentin Schauert, Addie Johns, and Bethany Tucker. So congratulations to them. As far as the district report, we continue to work with our staff on our compensation program moving forward for certified and support staff, and hopefully head in the right direction with that. We believe that we will probably have that completed sometime in the summer. So hopefully before September 1. So we probably will not have that done by our May board meeting. It doesn't have to be, but that's kind of what we're shooting for. We're also hoping to bring insurance bids to the May meeting. Our current WA health insurance bid had a 40% increase. Just so you know, we spent about $1.1 million on health insurance. So that took the bid to over $1.5 million. If we stick with the current health vendor, we are still receiving and accepting bids at this time, but in May, hopefully we'll have something for you. We've also been experiencing some difficulty, as all schools have, across the nation, finding enough bus drivers for spring sporting events. We've got representatives from Russ Stratton Bus here tonight. At this point, they are able to get everybody from house to school and school to home, but after school events, it's tough. Now, some schools have not been able to find the drivers to do the home and school part. So we are short for some of our extracurricular trips.
And so we've looked at other places that have buses and tried to work with them. We do have Tipsy Trolley, and I tell you, I don't like bringing middle school kids to Boscobel in a van that says Tipsy Trolley, but at least they're there. Understand that. There might come a time where if we don't have anything, we're going to have to ask parents to transport, which goes against our policy, but they're just not there. The drivers are not there. It's not from a lack of trying. It's just that they're not there. So just know that they're working as hard as they can, and we trust that they are. We're working hard to try and to find secondary. We use our school vans whenever we can. And we've got 4 of them, but they've been helpful. But that is a nationwide shortage right now that we're dealing with. And like I said, it's not hit us as hard as it is in other districts, but we're having some issues with that. So that's my report.
All right. Any questions of Aaron? All right. Hearing none, public recognition. Is there anyone?
No one was signed in.
Okay. Does anyone have anything? All right. Hearing none, new business. Approve the 2022 summer course offerings.
Yep. So this booklet was created by Mr. Kraus. A lot of the classes from last year, we had some new classes that we offered, but we always try to have a split, about a third with academics, arts, and activities or athletics, and that the courses this year are about that. So I recommend that we approve it.
Are there any questions, board? Hearing none, would someone?
I'll move to approve the 2022 summer school course offerings as presented.
Is there a second?
I'll second. Collins.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Schrader.
Yeah.
Hinderman, yes. Pohl.
Yes.
Bowden.
Yes.
Andrews.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Item B, resolution authorizing the contract renewals and the issuance of teacher contracts for 22-23.
Yeah, by state law, we have to have this done by May 15th, and our next board meeting will be after May 15th, so we're doing that in April. We are offering contracts to all certified staff, and there's no one on a non-renewal list. So I recommend that we approve this.
If there's no questions, would someone move?
I'll move to approve the resolution authorizing contract renewals and issuance of teacher contracts for the 22-23 school year as presented.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Collins.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Schrader.
Yes.
Hinderman, yes. Pohl.
Yes.
Bowden.
Yes.
Andrews.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Item C is approve the Neola policy updates for April 22.
Yep, this is the most current version of policy reviews by Neola. The policy committee meeting was last Wednesday. I went through, and it was actually only 2 pages, which usually Neola updates are about 4. So it was a pretty short meeting. The committee did recommend all the policies that we went through. So I recommend that we approve this.
Again, if there's no questions, would someone move, please?
I'll move to approve the Neola policy updates for April 2022 as presented.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Collins.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Schrader.
Yes.
Hinderman, yes. Pohl.
Yes.
Bowden.
Yes.
Andrews.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Item D, approve the change in meal prices effective September 1 of 22.
Yeah, according to food director, Ms. Janet Levelholtz, we haven't raised student prices in a few years since 2017-18. And she just thought this was the time to do that. And she didn't want to, but just with the rising food costs, she just thought that we had to. And she doesn't like doing that at all. She was nearly in tears when she brought it up, but she thinks that we have to do that. So I recommend that we approve it. So it would be starting September 1, so it wouldn't be mid-year.
Is it for all students?
Just for middle school, high school.
Just
We didn't change the middle school when they came over here. And so she said in hindsight, we probably should have done that, but now's the time we'll just have it, the changes just for the school.
Any other questions? Would someone move?
I'll move to approve the meal price increases effective September 1st, 2022 as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
Collins.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Schrader.
Yes.
Hinderman, yes. Pohl.
Yes.
Bowden.
Yes.
Andrews.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Item E is approve the UWP Grow Your Own partnership with ESSER $3 for the 22-23 school year.
This actually came from our last meeting. With ESSER 3, you have to have a public meeting where you take suggestions for how we spend our ESSER $3. So this actually came from that meeting last month. The idea was to assist by having some more adults in the classrooms and also as counselors, and to use ESSER $3 to actually pay student teachers instead of providing interns. So the plan that we have has a student teacher at kindergarten grades, first, second, third, fourth, fifth. Grade 6, 7, and 8 actually opted out. They said, you know what, we're good. We don't need that. But we might still look for a school counselor for middle school. So the plan that you guys had 6th, 7th, and 8th grade in there, but they've declined. So we might add a 4K one in there or another 5th grader, but that's about the range. And it would cost about the same as one para would, but that means we're going to have about 8 or 9 adults in that building each semester. That'll also help with recess supervision and lunch supervision before and after school, and can help with some interventions as well.
Are there any questions of that? Would someone move, please?
I'll move to approve the UWP Grow Your Own partnership with ESSER $3 for the 2022-23 school year as presented.
I'll second it.
Collins.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Schrader.
Yes.
Hinderman, yes. Poll.
Yes.
Bowden.
Yes.
Andrews.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Item F is approve Mr. Troy Kraus as the new Cuba City Elementary School principal beginning July 1st of 2022.
Yep, and Mr. Kraus is here in the back. After a 6-week posting, we brought in 6 candidates to meet with our admin, teachers, support staff. Narrowed it down to 2 candidates. These 2 candidates met with the board and administrative team, minus Chuck and Kelly, who are both related to the 2 of our finalists. And the board and administration recommends that we go with Mr. Kraus. So I recommend that we approve this.
If there's no questions, I will make the motion to approve Mr. Troy Kraus as the Cuba City Elementary School principal beginning July 1st, 2022 as presented. Is there a second?
Collins.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Schrader.
Yes.
Hinderman, yes. Poll.
I shouldn't vote, I wasn't
Me.
involved, correct?
I just wanted to make you say abstain officially. I just wanted you to say abstain officially.
You can just abstain.
Bowden.
Yes.
Andrews.
Yes.
Motion carried.
All right, we do need a signature for that one. So I'll get that out and pass it around. We need Gary, Chuck, and Megan to sign that. But we can move on to the next
Can we
one.
move on to G? All right. G, approve the addition of a middle school, high school at-risk coordinator certified position.
So what we are thinking is we want to make sure that all of our students, regular ed and special ed, who are somewhat credit deficient, have somebody who's able to look over them, make sure that we have a safe space for them to work on some credit recovery items, as well as provide some accommodations for those students who might be credit deficient. We want to make sure that every student graduates, and we feel this is a need that we have in our high school, our middle school, high school right now, and feel like this would go a long way in ensuring success for our students.
So that is for the rest of this school year?
That's for starting next year.
Okay, because it didn't specify. it
Yeah,
yet.
so this would be for next year.
Are there any other questions? Hearing none, would someone move, and may you add that it is for the next school year, please?
Sure.
I'll move to approve the addition of a CCMS HS at-risk teacher for the 22-23 school year as presented.
Is there a second?
I'll second. Collins.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Schrader.
Yes.
Hinderman, yes. Poll.
Yes.
Bowden.
Yes.
Andrews.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Alrighty, H is approve the temporary use of Wednesday nights for activities due to our beautiful weather on the spring season.
I have a feeling I know who will make the motion for this. The weather's been horrible. We've had to cancel a lot of events, and a lot of times everything just gets mushed into May. So this just allows us Wednesdays as a last resort to have those contests.
If there's no questions, I will make that motion to approve the temporary permission for outdoor activities on Wednesday evenings as presented.
Second.
Collins.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Schrader.
Yes.
Hinderman, yes. Pohl.
Yes.
Bowden.
Yes.
Andrews.
Yes.
Motion carried.
I is approve the 22-23 CISA 3 service contract.
Yep, no differences from last year in our contract. It's pretty much cost neutral. There was no increase from any of our services. We do have some other contracts with CISA 3. This is just our base contract, which hasn't changed in the last few years. So I recommend that we approve those.
If there's no questions, would someone move?
I'll move to approve the 22-23 CISA 3 service contract as presented.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Collins.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Schrader.
Yes.
Hinderman, yes. Pohl.
Yes.
Bowden.
Yes.
Andrews.
Yes.
Motion carried.
J is approve the 22-23 athletic training contract with Southwest Health.
This year, there was a do you want to sign that CISA contract? There was a 2.5% increase this year with our Southwest Health training. Usually it's about 2%, so it's just 0.5% over what it has been recently. So a small increase, but I recommend that we approve this.
Would someone make the motion?
I'll move to approve the 22-23 athletic training contract with Southwest Health as presented.
Is there a second?
Collins.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Schrader.
Yes.
Hinderman, yes. Pohl.
Yes.
Bowden.
Yes.
Andrews.
Yes.
Motion carried.
And K is approve the purchase of a district lawnmower, assuming it'll warm up and the grass will grow, through Scott Implement. Chuck, do you have anything you want to?
I wasn't aware of that until we sat down tonight, but I just want, are we trading the two in, correct? The zero turning in the old John Deere, according to the dollar figure,
It's both of them.
both of them? All right. As long, is it an industrial model, I hope?
Yes, it is. And both we bought from Sloan's last time and
Yeah.
Scott's this time. So
Right.
that's why they're pretty similar models according to Better Brand.
I just wondered, if the durability will be there.
Yep.
That's the only question I have.
Okay. If there's no other questions, would someone move?
I'll move to approve the purchase of a district lawnmower through Scott's Implement as presented.
Is there a second?
I
I'll
will-
second.
Collins.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Schrader.
Yes.
Hinderman, yes. Pohl.
Yes.
Bowden.
Yes.
Andrews.
Yes.
Motion carried.
L is approve the spring 2022 school district community survey final draft that we talked about in our special meeting.
Yep, and didn't have any changes, so I recommend that we go with what they have.
Would someone make that motion?
I'll move to approve the spring 2022 Cuba City School District Community Survey final draft as presented.
I'll second it.
Collins.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Schrader.
Yes.
Hinderman, yes. Pohl.
Yes.
Bowden.
Yes.
Andrews.
Yes.
Motion carried.
And personnel, we have approved Will Esser as a middle school track and field head coach.
Yep, he's willing to do that, and Mr. Gooden and Dr. Kraus recommend that we approve this hire.
Would someone move?
I'll move to approve the hiring of Will Esser as middle school track and field head coach as presented.
Is there a second?
I will second. Collins.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Schrader.
Yes.
Hinderman, yes. Pohl.
Yes.
Bowden.
Yes.
Andrews.
Yes.
Motion carried.
And then B, approve Maggie
She actually
Doherty.
pulled her name out today, so we're
Oh,
still
we'll
looking.
skip that one.
Yep, so we'll go right to C.
All right, cancel B. C, approve Miss Tammy Thick as the volunteer high school track and field coach.
Yep, we recommend that you approve this volunteer.
Would someone move?
I'll move to approve Miss Tammy Fick as volunteer CCHS track and field coach as presented.
Second.
Collins.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Schrader.
Yes.
Hinderman, yes. Pohl.
Yes.
Bowden.
Yes.
Andrews.
Yes.
Motion carried.
And D, and I'm gonna probably slaughter his last name. but-
Mr. Johnson. Mr. Johnson.
Mr. Jim.
Mr. John Newhoffen as the volunteer golf coach.
Yeah, we recommend that that you guys approve this volunteer.
He's helped me with my game. I'll move to approve Mr. John Newhoffen as volunteer golf coach.
Second.
All right. Collins.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Schrader,
Yes.
Hinderman, yes. Poll,
Yes.
Bowden,
Yes.
Andrews,
Yes.
motion carried.
Committee reports, budget and finance, looks like you've got an upcoming meeting here as,
Late May or.
for Heather, they're gonna start working on next year's budgets.
Yep.
Building and grounds, Chuck,
Haven't met.
anything?
Aaron said we got one coming up. I don't know when it will be.
Ben is looking, it kind of depends on when Ben gets back.
All right. Communications review and strategic planning,
We've been doing that kind of.
we've
in the
been doing
special-
that ongoing, so old news, I guess. Curriculum, instruction and assessment, looks like you're not gonna meet till summer. Personnel, we met on April 6th, and I guess the only update to that would be is that due to board inavailability, Aaron met with the staff regarding the compensation plans, and he's going to continue to do that moving forward, at
Yep.
least to the point where he was able to bring something back as a vote or a plan.
Now we kind of have the format settled. Now we'll work those out, and then the next time we meet, we'll hopefully approve something.
Policy committee, you just met a couple weeks ago. Technology, transportation, Dan, anything?
I do have a question. So we bought new Chromebooks. That's already done. Is the rest of next year's tech bought? Do we need to meet before July or?
We usually don't start buying for next year. They'll place the orders typically in like May or June, but we won't, we can't receive or pay any of the invoices until July 1 because of the fiscal year starting.
Would you like us to have a meeting just to go through kind of those purchases? We already have we know what's going to be in the tech budget, so if you'd like to meet and have us go through that.
I think we should before we
should.
before
So we can do
order.
that in June.
And the only reason why we have the Chromebooks for next year already is because we received the grant.
And that's every year, we'll be buying 130 to 150 Chromebooks every year, just to maintain the one-on-one thing. We'll also have a transportation meeting probably in July. We're gonna have a joint with Southwestern. We get a lot of requests from Southwestern kids, hey, my kid, I'm worried about my kid crossing the street. You have a stop here, you're already going in that direction, can you stop up 2 blocks? We get those, John gets those. We wanna have our 2 transportation committee meetings meet together and try to come up with hey, what's a way that we can work together here so that nobody's taking advantage of the other district, but we're also serving our parents. So that will be a joint meeting.
Okay. Anything else?
Nope.
Okay. Foundation, you met back in March, and there probably won't be one for another year, I suppose. CISA 3, at this point, they did approve last night half a dozen early retirements that did include putting money in, basically a retirement account for some of those employees as incentive to get them to retire, hoping to use the savings to pay for their health insurance increases. I don't have anything else. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I will move we adjourn.
I will second.
All in favor?
Thank you, everybody, for coming.
Thanks, Don, appreciate it.
Take care, Don.
Words.
Let's see this.
Aaron.